welcome back to my channel. It's Thursday the 12th of March today. This is a different kind of vlog. As some of you know, I suffer from psoriatic arthritis and I have ankylosing spondylitis in my spine, which is very inflamed and very painful. For the last 3 weeks or so, our part of Japan's been very grey and rainy and wet, and a lot of people that suffer from arthritis often find that in that kind of grey, rainy, damp weather their arthritis flares up and gets worse. I've been really ill over the past 3 weeks. I've had quite severe inflammation in my chest cavity, which has made breathing a little bit difficult because my lungs can't fully expand without hitting this wall of inflammation, this wall of resistance. And my rib cage has felt very pressurised. Now I've been to the doctors, I've been checked out, there's nothing untoward going on there, it's just a part of the arthritis and it's just very active and flared up and inflamed at the moment. As well as that kind of like chest cavity issue, I've also had really excruciating pain in my spine and particularly my left shoulder. Especially for the last 2 weeks. Last week I went for 3 massages and they just did not touch it. My top of my back is just full of these hard rocks, like lumps. It's really bizarre. And like I said, the massages haven't done anything, and I've upped my pain medication and it's not even touched the sides. It's been so painful that there are days when I've not been even well enough to like wash my hair and shower. So I know my arthritis is very active now. Luckily the weather has improved now. Since yesterday the weather's been a lot drier and I'm starting to feel better already. But as part of like living with this disease, I've started to look into a lot more into complementary medicine, and I'm kind of kicking myself a bit here now because I lived in Singapore for 3.5 years and there are loads of TCMs, traditional Chinese medicine practitioners there, and acupuncture is very readily available and it's quite affordable. But because I'm severely needle phobic, I never actually went ahead and had it. So I'm struggling a lot at the moment, if I'm honest. I feel like I've done nothing for the last 3 weeks but be in excruciating pain. So I've actually got an appointment today to go and see a Japanese doctor that practices acupuncture, and within his practice there's another practitioner affiliated with him that does cupping. For those of you that might remember, a few years ago in the celebrity magazines and stuff like that, there was a big hoo-ha surrounding Gwyneth Paltrow. She turned up to some event with a backless dress and her back looked like a pepperoni pizza, and basically she'd had cupping. You can get wet cupping and dry cupping, and cupping is simply applying like these suction cups onto your back or other parts of your body, whereas wet cupping is where they reapply the suction cups for a second time after making these very teeny tiny, very kind of like superficial surface level incisions, and they reapply the suction cups and it sucks out basically the bad blood, or what practitioners refer to as bad blood. And this is like congealed blood that causes blockages, so that fresh blood carrying fresh oxygen supplies and nutrients can't flow as easily through the body. So I've been looking into that, and I know complementary medicine is quite controversial, especially something like wet cupping. It's very polarized. Some people think it's a barbaric practice, but I've been doing a lot of research into it, and it goes as far back as like the ancient Egyptian times. It's practiced quite commonly in the Chinese culture, Middle Eastern countries, other countries in Asia. So I've got to that stage now where I don't want to go through what the last 3 weeks that I've just been through. It's been such an awful time for me and it takes its toll. So I'm becoming a lot more open-minded to these complementary medicines, and it's not that I've been closed-minded before. I'm a wimp. I am severely needle phobic to the extent where I've actually run out of a doctor's surgery when I was about to have an injection, and I have a very appalling pain threshold. But I'm trying not to let those issues get in the way of me now seeking treatment that I think might actually help my condition. I'm not sure if I'm going to post this. I've got my first appointment today. I'm on my way there now, and then I will come back and talk to you guys after and let you know how it goes. Today is my first consultation, and I don't know if it's just a consultation or consultation plus treatment. I'll find out when I get there. And like I said, I may post this, I may not. I'm just going to see how it goes. I just thought it might be interesting or insightful for some of you that are interested in kind of like holistic health and complementary medicine. It's certainly an area that I'm interested in, and I guess one of the reasons that I'm more open-minded to trying it is because I personally know friends that have had dry cupping, that have had wet cupping, that have had acupuncture, that have had things like, you know, Reiki, and they found it really beneficial. You know, I've not had much in the way of complementary therapies other than just massages, and I used to go for regular Thai massages when I lived in Singapore, and they did help. Like I said, I just wish I'd been brave enough to try something like acupuncture. But anyway, I'm going to head off to my appointment and I will come and check in with you later. So I just had the consultation. It was with a Japanese guy. He spoke really, really good English. He is the acupuncture practitioner, and he took a very, very detailed medical history. The lady that does the wet cupping, which is the treatment that I'm going to have, doesn't speak much English. So he is going to convey all my medical history in detail to her. I didn't have any treatment today, it was just a consultation. I'm going back tomorrow to see the wet cupping practitioner at lunchtime. So we'll have my first treatment session, and I will come back and check in with you guys after that and let you know how it went. Hello everyone, it's Friday the 13th. I've had my first treatment session. I had that about 3 hours ago, and then I had to run some errands. So I've just got back home and I thought I'd check in with you guys. It went a lot better than I was expecting it to go, to be honest. The practitioner, a lady called Aya, she was absolutely lovely. She didn't speak much English. She did have a few English words, so, you know, she'd ask me if something was painful or if something felt tight or hot, you know, or loose. So she did know a little bit of English. It was really interesting, actually, because I've had cupping, but I also had acupuncture and something called Moxibustion. I think that's how you say it. So I was wearing these kind of like knee-length shorts and a top, short sleeve top, loose top that opened from behind so that, you know, she could access my back. And initially I lay on the massage bed facing the ceiling, and she examined my stomach. So she did a lot of kind of like pushing, pushing with her hands and her fingertips around my rib cage, around my belly button, you know, below my belly button. She examined the soles of my feet, my ankles. She did a lot of kind of like sliding her hands along my legs, but also pushing as she did it. You know, I don't know what she was feeling for. And then she got one of the acupuncture needles and she inserted it into different parts of my stomach. It was literally just prick, 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 prick along my stomach. And then she also, you know, felt my arms, my hands, my neck, my shoulder joint. She knows I've got shoulder issues and spinal issues. And then I turned over onto my front, and then on my back she did some acupuncture, and it was quite up into my neck and almost into my hair, so at the nape of my neck. And she also did acupuncture on my ankles, and it actually wasn't that bad. Like, in my mind, I woke up with really bad anxiety this morning at the thought of having needles put into me, but it really wasn't that bad. I could feel the needle going in, but it felt like a scratch. And when she pulled the needle out, she kind of like used her free hand to push against my skin, so I was actually feeling the sensation of her touch more than the actual sensation of the needle coming out. And she showed me the acupuncture needles, and they are so fine. They're literally like the thickness of a strand of hair. And then she did some Moxibustion, which I've read about, and it's a bit hard to explain, but I'm going to give it a shot. So it was almost like a stick-on incense cone that she stuck onto my back in certain places and my ankles. And she, even when I had the Moxibustion stick-ons on, she was feeling other parts of my body. She was very hands-on. She was constantly, when she was putting needles in one part of my body, she was feeling almost like to see what the effect was in another part of my body. Now, I'm very conscious of the placebo effect. So when she was like poking me around my stomach during the initial examination and my legs and things like that, if something felt tender or it hurt, I kind of like didn't express it. I wanted to see if she could find where my tender points were. And once she examined my whole body, she went back to certain points and she pressed and she said, hurt, pain. And it was a painful point. I felt she was very intuitive. She took her time. It took over an hour. It didn't feel rushed. Like, it wasn't like she was trying to get me in and out so she could have another client come in. And like I said, she was very comprehensive. And even when she was doing the acupuncture, you know, she was feeling other parts of my body, like I said, to maybe see what kind of an effect it was having. And with the Moxibustion, you get the smell of something burning, you know, like that incense smell. And one of the patches on my ankle started to feel warm, and I said hot, you know, hot on my ankle. And then she removed it, but the others, you know, didn't get to that point where I felt, oh, that's getting a bit too hot, it's making me uncomfortable. You know, she'd already removed it before that point. And then finally she did the cupping, and I didn't have wet cupping, so there was no bloodletting or bleeding. This was completely dry cupping, and it was done with the mechanical suction cups rather than fire cupping or flame cupping. So it's a lot safer than flame cupping. There's no use of alcohol, there's no risk of burning the skin by accident. And also with the kind of like mechanical suction device, she could control the suction. So when she put the suction cup on my back, on my shoulder, at the back, obviously I felt the cup, and then when she connected the suction device and started to suck, it's almost like, you know, if someone was to pull your skin, like the fleshy part of your forearm, and it's just that pulling sensation. It wasn't painful, it didn't hurt, and when she kind of like stuck the cups on and done the suction, they just felt a little tight, not uncomfortable, not painful, just a little tight. And she put quite a few on me. I think I had about 4 or 5 at one point on me, and it felt like if I moved they were going to roll off, but they wouldn't, because they were, you know, the suction was quite tight and firm. But that's how it felt. And then she removed like the 2 suction cups at the top of my back and put them to the lower part of my back. I think I've had maybe 8 to 10 suction cups down my back. Now, the discoloration isn't very intense on my back. I remember when my hubby had it in Singapore, his back was like a pepperoni pizza. Like, his discoloration was a reddy, bluey purple. Mine, I've just had a look in the mirror in the bathroom, they're just a pale pink. It's not very intense at all. And I've just been reading up about it on the internet, and some people think that the discoloration is bruising, but from what I can tell from what I've read online, it's not bruising, it's just pulling the stagnant blood and, you know, the dead cells and, you know, the toxins from deep within the body. It's pulling them to the surface so that within the body the blood can flow more freely, you know, the fresh blood with the oxygen and the nutrients, and all this kind of like build-up of toxins and this stagnant blood and all this matter that, you know, in an ideal world and in optimum health, your kidneys and your liver would help eliminate. It's just kind of like being pulled to the surface of the skin, and that hence the discoloration. But like I said, my discoloration isn't very intense, and I don't know if that's because either A, I don't have a lot of toxins built up in my body, although I'd be surprised if that was the case, or B, because the suction cups weren't on me for that long. She could tell I was very anxious with the way I was breathing, and, you know, I was having to do kind of like meditative breathing to calm myself down, and I explained to her about my phobia of needles, and so I don't know whether she decided not to leave them on for too long, so it wasn't too much for me, given that it was my first time. She also said not to do the wet cupping this time, and she said, you know, in the next session to do that. I don't know what the rationale for that was. Like I said, it's a bit hard to communicate with her because of the language barrier, but I do feel if she's saying not to have it now, then it's in my best interest. Like I said, I felt very comfortable with her, like I could trust her. I feel really tired, but I don't know whether that's probably accumulation of not having slept well for the last few weeks. I've not had my morning coffee today. She's told me not to shower today, not to drink any alcohol, which isn't an issue because I don't drink anyway. and to drink plenty of water. I'm going back next Friday, and next Friday is when she said we will probably do the wet cupping, so I will check back in with you then. In terms of how I feel now, aside from the tiredness, my shoulder feels really good. Like, my left shoulder has been in agony for about 3 weeks, excruciating pain, and I just cannot believe how loose and pain-free it is, more so than my right, and my left is the problematic one. And you know, she worked a lot on my kind of like neck and my collarbone area and this part, and you know, she conveyed that there was tightness and that there were issues there. With regards to the acupuncture needle, she even put one in right in the center of my head, and she said that is a very key point, so I guess it's something to do with meridian points. So even though I'm really tired, I feel my body feels quite loose and not tight, and I'm trying not to get too like carried away with it, and I'm still trying to be very conscious of the placebo effect. And you know, we've had 3 or 4 days of really sunny, dry weather, and I know I feel healthier and better with my arthritic pain when the weather's like that, rather than when it's wet, damp and grey. My pain is worse. I might check in with you tomorrow or Sunday, kind of like 24 hours or 48 hours after today's session, and let you know how it goes, and then post this video and then do a follow-up video after next week's session. So I think that's probably how I'll do this vlog. Like I said, I'm trying to keep a very rational, scientific mind about this, but the difference in my left shoulder is amazing, and I can't explain it. I don't know what she's done. I know what she's done, but I don't know like how that has benefited me. I'm not a holistic therapist. I'm not an expert in cupping or acupuncture. All I can tell you is how I feel, and I feel really good. This is the best I felt in about a month, and given the excruciating pain I was in last week, I just can't believe how good this shoulder feels, and I'm hoping that tonight I will get a really good night's sleep, because I feel really sleep deprived. But I hope you found this interesting. Like I said, I don't know if this is going... I'm not being naive in that thinking this is going to cure me, this is going to cure my arthritis or anything like that. I'm not that naive. But I'm hoping it will be beneficial. I'm hoping it will help me with my chronic pain. I hope it helps me with my chronic fatigue, and just my general well-being. I mean, if I could get rid of the chronic pain and fatigue, my quality of life would be so much better, even with like deformed fingers and the odd bit of joint pain. That exhaustion and fatigue and that severe pain that I've gone through over the last few weeks, I don't want to have to go through that again, and I want to have a bit more energy to actually do things with my life, just day to day, rather than feeling constantly exhausted. Hello everyone, it's Monday the 16th of March. I know I said I'd check in with you on the weekend just to let you know how I was feeling after my first session on Friday. Anyway, I forgot to film over the weekend, so it's Monday today. It's been 3 days since I had my first session, and I have to say I'm feeling really good, a lot better than I was expecting. My left shoulder feels fantastic. It has not felt this loose and relaxed for a good kind of like 3-4 years, just because the arthritis is so bad, and like I've mentioned before, I get really severe knots and tightness and swelling. So my shoulder's been feeling really good. Within myself, I do feel like my arthritic pain when I've been waking up in the morning has been less. At night, as I've mentioned, I get very severe pain in my collarbone joints, and that has lessened, especially on the left side. I don't know why, but the improvement in my left side is a lot more noticeable than the improvement on my right. And I'm quite happy about that, because my left side is worse. I didn't do a lot over the weekend. To be honest, I just spent most of the weekend at home, just kind of like chilling in my pajamas. Even though I felt quite rejuvenated and energized, at the same time I have been feeling really tired. As you know, I've not been well for a good 3-4 weeks now. I've been quite sleep deprived from all the pain, and I think that's all just taken its toll. So even though I felt kind of like internally energized, I didn't want to go out and do lots of stuff, and then kind of like overdo it. So I've just been taking it easy. I did a bit of research online just to find out a bit more about Moxibustion, because it's not something I've heard of. And from what I can understand online, it's basically a form of kind of herbal and heat therapy. So moxa is derived from mugwort, I think it's called. It's kind of some kind of like plant, and it's just kind of like burning dried mugwort over certain points of the body on these little sticky pads, so the heat kind of like penetrates, I'm assuming through certain meridian points. I'm going to do a bit more research on it online, and I will link below the blog post that will accompany this video. And in there I will try and put links where you can get more information about this kind of stuff. If any of you have ever had acupuncture, wet or dry cupping, or Moxibustion, I'd be really interested if you could let me know in the comments below what your experience has been, what you thought of it, for what ailment you had that treatment. Just because I'm trying to keep like quite a rational mind about it all, but I'm still really surprised how much better I feel after just one treatment. You know, it's like the week before last I had 3 massages in 1 week, and they just did not touch my pain, did not touch like the swelling and the knots in my back, and just this one session has made me feel so much better. I'm finding it hard to kind of like comprehend and understand why, because I don't understand the science behind it all. I know some people might think, you know, complementary medicine or alternative medicine is a load of gobbledygook. I personally do believe in it. I think, to me, it is the original medicine, and I think there is a lot of value in it, and it's not just all kind of like a placebo effect, because if it was, it would have been carried out, you know, throughout the generations, and, you know, people have actually felt real benefit, life-changing benefit from it. And like I said, I can't believe the benefit I felt from just one session. This vlog is just about my personal experience, and I'm just sharing it with you guys out there in case someone finds it interesting, you know, and that's it really. So like I said, if you have had any of these therapies, then I'd be really interested to hear from you. I've got my second session on Friday this week, Friday the 20th I think it is, and I think I'm going to be having wet cupping for the first time, so I will do another vlog and talk to you about my experience with that. And yeah, in the meantime, I hope you all have a lovely day. Like I said, I've not done any kind of like Japan vlogs for a while now, because let me just show you the weather. That's the weather out there. Like, we can't even see Bay Bridge, which is kind of over there in the distance. You know, it's really kind of like foggy and hazy and grey and drizzly. Anyway, I hope you all have a lovely day. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I will talk to you in the next one.